You turn my morning into dancing. Your love changes everything. There's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing.
Good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Church. I am down at Firmly Rooted Greendale, once again here in the parsonage, in the living room. And Maisie's here too, hanging out with me. Hope you're having a good morning. I'm hoping the weather's a little better today. I'd like to get out there with Maisie and have a walk. Let's say hi to a few people, and then we're going to be looking at Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Let's see. Hold on, my mic went off. I caught it again. There we go. Do you have volume now? Did it fix? Chris, I don't know what happened. It went off right when I was trying to say, you said good morning. I don't know what's going on. But are we good now? Someone tell me, please. I think we are. Yes, we're good. All right, let me pull up the reading. And I'll keep an eye on that microphone button there. All right, add this. And let's do this. And I'm going to do this. All right, you can see in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, the title of this particular section is Wisdom. Here we go. A good name is better than fine perfume, and the day of death better than the day of birth. Oh boy. Woo! The day of death is better than the day of birth. How do we wrap our minds around that thought? How do we stay consistent with what the writer of Ecclesiastes is saying? He's saying if life lived out in the kingdom of this world, from every direction that I can look at it, is meaningless, then death, which takes me to the next place, has got to be better than the day of my birth. Because the day of my birth, I've lived this life rather than in a garden, I've lived it in the wilderness, in a desert. Then he says it's better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of feasting. For death is the destiny of everyone. The living should take this to heart. What he's implying is that in the kingdom of this world, we tend to put on the idea that what's really real isn't by glossing over it, right? That we feast, we drink, we eat, we laugh, we tell jokes, we do all these things, but when in reality, life's a real struggle. Life's hard. That it's not the way God had designed it. It's broken. Relationships break, people get cancer, they die, things happen, hurts, accidents. Things are constantly happening. That's why he says earlier that the day of our death is better than the day of our birth. What he's saying is feasting is an illusion. It's momentary. He goes on to say frustration is better than laughter because a sad face is good to the heart. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of pleasure. It is better to heed the rebuke of a wise man than to listen to the songs of fools. Like the crackling of thorns under the pot, so is the laughter of fools. This too is meaningless. Let me try to make sense out of this a little bit. And I want to go to Matthew chapter 5. Jesus begins the Sermon of the Mount. And he says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, because they'll be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Do you think maybe, just maybe, as Jesus was preaching the Sermon on the Mount to a bunch of Jews, he had Ecclesiastes chapter 7 in the back of his mind? Yes. Yes. He's taking the truths right out of this chapter and puts them right into his first major sermon. Extortion turns a wise person into a fool, and bribe corrupts the heart. And then finally, as he begins to conclude, the end of a matter is better than its beginning. The end of the matter is better than the beginning. Just like death is more clear than life. Do not be quickly provoked. And patience is better than pride. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the laps of fools. Beginning to realize that when human beings begin to realize how meaningless life is in the kingdom of this world, because Satan created the mess, anger and hostility and violence will be soon behind. And just look at our society today and you'll see this being lived out in pure form. Do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions. And it's also that those days have been made to seem better than they really were. We think about the early 20th century. Oh, life was so simple then. Life was this and that and the other. And then you realize that they had a complete failure to the economy. You had World War I, World War II. We tend to romanticize things. Wisdom, like inheritance, is a good thing and benefits those who see the sun. Wisdom is a shelter, as money is a shelter, but the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves those who have it. Money's fleeting. He's now beginning to say that wisdom can see things that the average eye can't see. And who shows up? Verse 13, God. Consider what God has done. Who can straighten what he has made crooked? When times are good, be happy. But when times are bad, consider this: God has made the one as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future. There's going to be, let me pull myself out of here for a sec. Or pull this reading back out. What's his point? It's Jesus' point. Without Jesus, we have no hope. Without Jesus, life is meaningless. Without Jesus, all of our trials and all of our striving and all of our scratching to get ahead and all of our scratching to do what? The only way that we can find meaning and purpose in every single day of our lives is to have a relationship with God, be firmly rooted in his unconditional love and his eternal truth, and find wisdom, true truth. The kinds of truth that allows us to see through the darkness, allows us to see through the pain, through the grief, through the suffering. A settling of the heart. That God can lead us into green pastures and he can be with us even if we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. because he's for us and not against us. Man, if you get a chance, read this section again in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, and then jump to Matthew chapter 5 and read the Sermon on the Mount, that first part, and you'll see that Jesus is answering that very concern. All right, I'll leave it at that. Let's see, who else popped in here? My quality manager, Keith Berger. Where'd you go? There you are. Keith, great to have you on board. John Carson, good morning. John. I'm getting a couple of elders to come visit you because I'm in Greendale. So Aaron's looking at coming by. I think Scott Wheeler's looking at coming by. Just know that I love you, and we're trying to get some horsepower over there to come alongside you and your sister, who is doing the yeoman's work right there. John Sproul, Pastor John, thanks for sharing wisdom today, Tom. Thank you, John, and love you, and thank you for yours and Linda's support during this tough time. All right, guys. Blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.